How good will the Las Vegas Raiders offense be this upcoming NFL season? We got to talk about it. I want to give a special shout out to the sponsor of this video, Manscaped. So Manscaped recently just launched their Lawnmower 4.0. And listen, if you are a guy who does a lot of shaving underneath, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the perfect tool for you because, listen, my first time shaving a couple of months ago went terrible. I had a bunch of scrapes, I had a bunch of bruises, and I also had patches because I didn't finish the job. So when Manscaped sent me the Lawnmower 4.0, I used it, and I was a little bit scared, okay? Because I was like, I ain't trying to give myself patches and give myself injuries like I did last time, my first time shaving. But when I used the Lawnmower 4.0, let me tell you guys something. It was a easy process. I had no scrapes, no bruises. It was no pain. Listen, if you're a guy who does a lot of shaving underneath, make sure that you guys go ahead and cop the Lawnmower 4.0 using my promo code JT for 20% off plus free shipping off your Manscaped purchase. Once again, make sure that you guys use promo code JT for 20% off your purchase plus free shipping. Your balls will thank you. Las Vegas Raiders last year had one of the best offenses in the NFL. They scored 27 points per game, which was 10th in the NFL. They were 8th in the NFL in total yards per game with 383. They also averaged 263.6 passing yards per game, which was 8th in the NFL last season. And they were 14th in rushing yards per game as well. So not only was this a good offense, but this was a balanced offense. They could beat you through the air and they could beat you on the ground as well. Now, what a lot of people aren't talking about is that Derek Carr was really good last year. As a matter of fact, he is coming off one of the best seasons of his NFL career where he threw for 4,103 passing yards, 27 touchdowns while only throwing 9 interceptions. Derek Carr had a really good campaign last year in 2020. And as a matter of fact, there was one point in time throughout last year where Derek Carr was kind of creeping up in MVP discussions. Now, obviously, his MVP run never really got a lot of steam, never really got a lot of momentum, but there were a couple of people out there who were trying to make an argument for why Derek Carr should be in the running for NFL MVP at one point of last year. So Derek Carr is coming off one of the best years of his NFL career. Now, you look at Josh Jacobs. He was a Pro Bowler last year. He ran for over 1,000 yards, had 12 touchdowns. Then you bring in Kenyon Drake in free agency. So now you have a pretty good 1-2 punch there at the halfback position. I think they brought in Kenyon Drake because Kenyon Drake gives them a really good option when it comes to third down scenarios because Josh Jacobs isn't really that big of a threat when it comes to catching the ball out of the backfield, which has been the biggest knock on Josh Jacobs. So you bring in Kenyon Drake. I think Kenyon Drake is going to be the third down back on this offense. Then when you look at the wide receiver position, that's pretty much where the biggest area of concern is. Now, the concern isn't talent because you have talent there, but the concern is that you don't know who is going to end up being productive there. Now, you do have Henry Ruggs, who had 26 receptions, 452 receiving yards, and only 2 touchdowns. His rookie season was really underwhelming, to say the least, especially when you look at the fact that he was the first wide receiver taken off the board in that draft over guys like CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, and Justin Jefferson, who had arguably the best rookie season ever for a first-year wideout. So Henry Ruggs this year definitely has to have a great season, and I think the pressure is definitely on for Henry Ruggs because aside from scoring that game-winning touchdown against the New York Jets, I didn't really see Henry Ruggs make all that many plays last year. And when you look at a guy like a Bryan Edwards, I was really disappointed in how his rookie season went because Raiders And Raiders fans were raving about this guy. John Gruden was really high on him. Mike Mayock was really high about him. They were saying a lot of good things about him. Raiders fans kept blowing him up in my comment section when I made this video last year about how good I felt the Raiders offense would be. There were a lot of you Raiders fans who said, oh, you forgot about Brian Edwards, man. He's going to be really good. And all this talk about him in the offseason, just for him not really get a lot of opportunities during the regular season last year. He only caught a couple of passes and 1 touchdown. So for Brian Edwards, I would like to see more of him this year in this Raiders offense. I also like the addition of bringing in Willie Snead. So you have a veteran there. Then you still have Hunter Renfro, who was the best receiver on the team last season. He had 56 receptions, 656 receiving yards, and a couple of touchdowns. There's a name that they have for Hunter Renfro. I think Raiders fans call him, third down Renfro or something like that, because this guy is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL when it comes to moving the chains on third down. So I think Raiders fans call him third down Renfro or something like that. But Hunter Renfro, man, he is on his way to becoming one of the better slot receivers, or one of the best slot receivers that we have in the NFL. I definitely feel like he could be in for a really big season this year if he's able to stay healthy. You also have Keelan Doss, which I would like to see a lot more of him. You got John Brown, who was an incredible number 2 for Buffalo. He was really productive. Now, this wide receiving core, it has questions. Now, the questions aren't the talent, because the talent is there. The question is, how much production are you going to get out of this group this year? Because you have a lot of young guys who have to prove themselves. You got Henry Ruggs, who has a lot that he has to prove. Brian Edwards, can he get on the field? You got Hunter Renfro, who pretty much is the best receiver that they have on this roster as of right now. Now you have tight end Darren Waller, who is one of the 3 best tight ends in the game right now. Some people will make the argument and say that he's the best tight end in the game. Obviously, you Raiders fans are going to say that. So this is an offense that has some talent. It just all comes down to the production that you're going to get out of your young group of wide receivers between Edwards, Ruggs, and, the other young guys who they have at that wide receiver spot. Now, offensive line is a little bit of a question. The left side is really good. You got Colton Miller starting at left tackle. Richie Incognito should be starting at left guard. Andre James at center. Denzel Good and rookie Alex Leatherwood is where your question marks kind of lie with this offense. How good is the right side of your offensive line going to be, especially when you trade away offensive guard Gabe Jackson? So you got rid of Gabe Jackson there. So obviously you're going to have a couple of holes there, a couple of areas of concern there. So is this offensive line going to be as good this season like it was last year? I don't really know. Now, the left side isn't a concern. The right side is where I kind of have my eyebrows raised at. I tried to do the little rock. Is that how he does it? Forget it. But anyway, the right side of the offensive line is kind of where I have my concerns at. Now, Alex Leatherwood is expected to start at right tackle. Now, there were a lot of people who felt like he wasn't going to be able to keep up athletically at the next level at tackle because he struggled at the Senior Bowl playing tackle. But I still feel like he has a lot of upside, a lot of potential there. When you look at his size, you look at the athleticism and whatnot. But if he doesn't work out at tackle, you can always move him to guard. I definitely feel like he'll be an incredible guard. So for Alex Leatherwood, he was regarded more as a project player, which a lot of people were surprised that the Raiders took him as high as they did. But I definitely see the upside. I definitely see why the Raiders, quote, unquote, reached for him at the pick that they did. So I'm going to be interested to see how good Alex Leatherwood is this year. He definitely is a guy who could struggle this year. But overall, this is an offense that I really don't see declining all that much. If they decline, it probably would be because of that right side of that offensive line. But I definitely feel like that offensive line should be pretty straight. It probably won't be as good as what it was last year, but it still should be pretty decent. So I definitely think that this is an offense that probably should be around that that 10 to 13 range, because you look at how talented of a backfield they have. You also got Theoretic there. You also have Kenyon Drake there, who's going to be really good catching the ball out the backfield. So for the Raiders, this is an offense that is pretty good when it comes to talent. Jon Gruden, man. Jon Gruden is under a lot of pressure. He has his name mentioned in the hot seat by a lot of fans, but I don't think a lot of you guys realize this, but Jon Gruden is still going to be the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders for the next couple of seasons until the owner decides to buy him out, because remember, they signed him to a 10-year contract, so that's a lot of money you have to dish out if you were to fire him. So for Jon Gruden, man, I think he's done an incredible job. The offense, like I said, the defense is the main problem. Derek Carr was really good last year. I felt like his 2020 season was really underrated, and it's overlooked by a lot of people, especially when you look at the fact that there were people in the offseason who were clamoring that Marcus Mariota potentially could give the Raiders a better boost on the offense than Derek Carr, and we saw how that worked out. So let me know how you guys feel about the Raiders offense this upcoming NFL season. How good do you guys feel this offense will be? Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.